It is June 24th, 2020, and I wanted to show you my pantry as it sits right now. It is not very clean, not very organized, not much space. In fact, I tend to walk sideways down the aisles, but this is real life here. When something has to go to the pantry, we shove it in where we can. So if this kind of stuff interests you, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I'll just start on one side and kind of work my way around. Try not to take up too much of your time. So our potatoes and onions that make it out to the pantry are stored here. Our potatoes are just about to the end of their useful life. We go through quite a bit of potatoes. We have a chest freezer and an upright freezer out here. We also have a chest freezer in one of our sheds. My daughter has a chest freezer in her house, plus we have our fridge freezers, and they're all completely packed with food. I'll show you real quickly. In an ideal world, my daughter and I talked about it, and we would love to have, like, this freezer would be the poultry and the rabbit. But the reality is that as we find an empty space, we shove stuff in it. So we have the poultry and the rabbit is kind of in the bottom. And as you can see, other items have made its way in here, just as we could find room. This one was originally, and there's no real rhyme or reason as to why we chose what was going to go in each freezer, other than I think it had to do the majority of what was in the freezer. So this was supposed to be the pork and the dairy, only because I had a ton of butter and cheese in here. I've since canned quite a bit of the butter. We've eaten some of the cheese, and then as other space in other freezers became available, we moved, cheese to there, or as we bought the cheese, we put it away there. But this still remains the pork freezer as we have. In this freezer, I have 1.5 pigs. My daughter has 1.5 pigs in one of her freezers. I had some berries that spilled before they froze, and I haven't cleaned it up. Haven't had time or the interest, quite frankly. I see a lot of people do videos detailing what's in their freezers. I don't want to dig through it, and that kind of stuff doesn't interest me too much, so I won't go into detail in those. On this side, up top, I have Thrive freeze-dried foods. I used to buy a lot of that, and now that I freeze-dry my own, I haven't bought Thrive in 3 or 4 years, but it lasts 20 years or more. I just have extra stuff. Majority of the herbs, dried herbs, go in these jars up here. I do have them in another spot. I'll show you. Buckets of rings, of course. We have a Costco not far from us, maybe 30 minutes, and then we have a Smart Food Service, what used to be Cash and Carry, that's about an hour and a half from us. And we go to Costco probably once a month, and probably about the same for Smart Food Service, just picking up stuff we might need. Plus we have a grocery outlet, which I have become more and more in love with it as time goes on. Just show you the different things we have in here. I'll point stuff out every once in a while. For instance, this at Smart Food Service is chocolate pudding mix, and it came in this massive bag, and I just portioned it out into my jars. I canned cheddar cheese. This is cream cheese from here to here. This is butter. I have about 100 pounds of butter canned. Then these are some of my freeze-dried foods. Sour cream, milk here, and up there. I have canned milk, freeze-dried eggs. I have lots and lots of freeze-dried milk and eggs. It's a little harder. I mean, our chickens don't produce in the winter much, and so I want to make sure we have plenty. I have buckets of Mylar bags full of freeze-dried eggs and milk. And of course, chickens don't produce milk. But you just never know when you need a little bit of milk. So every time I get extra, I try to put that up. Freeze-dried cheese. We've used it some. That was kind of more like a novelty and to free up space in the freezers because we go through a tremendous amount of cheese. But I haven't freeze-dried a lot of it. Just maybe, I don't know, a couple pounds, 5 pounds or so. Standard stuff you can buy at the store. We do a lot of Mexican food, and so I tend to have a lot of the ingredients for that. Some canned vegetables, not a lot. We use a lot of olives for sure. I dry canned or oven canned flowers about 5 years ago, and I've canned a lot of it, and it is still good. I make I use it instead of pulling out a bucket of flour when I run out in the house. I just grab one of these. Our sugars, that is all sugar there in 5-gallon buckets, bags, and it goes 2 feet back. At Smart Food Service, I think this bag right there was $24, and it's 50 pounds of brown sugar. It was on sale. I have bought 2 of those bags. We don't use much brown sugar, but sugar's good for a long time, so there you have it. Quite a bit of rice. My husband used sweeteners. I've tried for years to get him to switch to anything else. Whatever makes him happy. So in these 5-gallon buckets here, I have various items. So oats, rice, flour, cornmeal. There's a Mylar bag in there, and then the food is sealed in the Mylar bag and then in the bucket. And I label each bucket. So like this is 10 pounds and I put it up this year. As I carefully back out of my room. So there's another bag of the brown sugar. I think that's brown rice in front. Yep. Some freeze-dried strawberries that I did. They're so tasty. In the back is something. Bob's Red Mill. Something. This shelf caddy station is my freeze-dried food processing center. So I store all my Mylar bags, the oxygen absorbers, my impulse sealer, which is this, and that's not how it's supposed to sit, but I've just thrown it there obviously, and then my food saver. These are hamburger patties. So they're just freeze-dried raw, and then we rehydrate them. And they're great for barbecuing, having a barbecued hamburger. It's like you are using fresh hamburger. It's amazing. We love our freeze dryer. There she sits. She is getting ready to go through another load. I just haven't started her yet because she's really kind of loud. Some more buckets. I get the buckets from Costco. They're free at Costco. I also get them at donut shops. Bakeries, they tend to charge you like $2 with the lid around here, which I'm happy with. It's fine. My brother-in-law got me a whole bunch of Otter Pops from Costco for the grandkids, and so we just throw some in the freezer, and then on hot days, which it has been lately, the adults and grandkids alike, have frozen Otter Pops. Yum. So this, as you can see, it's divided down the middle, the pantry. And then on this side, it's not a very big room. I think it was 12 by 12. And my husband realizes that he's going to need to move out of the room behind me, which I won't show you. It's He's got a lot of tools and stuff in here. And we will expand the pantry out behind me. How far or when, I'm not sure, but for now, I just pile as much food in here as I can. Top row is our cereals and coffee. We have about a year's supply of coffee. Hot cereal. And then we get to some freeze-dried, oven canned pastas, beans. So we have over there, we have the beans. I've oven canned a lot of them. Canned chicken and rabbit. Canned beans, I have navy, pinto, kidney, garbanzo. And then the rest of the beans in bags and buckets. I'll back up a little bit. It's really hard to see in here, but freeze-dried, dehydrated, various vegetables, oven-canned rice, cornmeal, oatmeal, I think. Canned or freeze-dried vegetables, mostly freeze-dried vegetables. And then this is where I store my jars, empties, and my empty boxes. I keep a lot of my empty boxes. And again, this whole station here in the center is for empties of various lids, whatever. And that is my pantry as of June 2020. I have a house pantry, and my daughter has a pantry in the house also. But this is kind of like our extended messy pantry. When we get done with a canning run, everything comes out here first, and then if we go shopping from here, we'll take a week's worth into the house pantries. But this is where we store all of our long-term stuff. The ultimate goal, we have 12 people here on our farm, and we would like to have 2 years for everybody, and we do on some things. Other things we only have about 6 months, but we slowly work on it as we get a chance. If you have any questions, let me know. I will say that those are jams and jellies for my husband. He loves jams and jellies. I didn't even do this shelf, I just realized. These are cherries, peaches, nectarines, apricots, apples. I used to buy a lot of it from the store, and this is what's left of what I buy from the store. Now I do a lot of it ourselves, and just every time I get some in the garden or in the fruit orchards or a good deal on it, then I'll can it up for ourselves for our use. These are various, the thicker looking stuff is bone broth, as you know the sign says. And then these are our rabbit, turkey, chicken, vegetable broths. For us, they're kind of interchangeable. I don't do beef broth, but that's all our other broths we just grab. We don't care whether it's turkey or rabbit, we just grab one. And this is where tomato sauces go, both home canned, and those are freeze-dried tomatoes. By the end of summer, I will have to not pull this out, but I'll have to make room probably down here, and that entire shelf will be too high with quarts of tomato products that we've canned ourselves. But as you can tell, we obviously go through a lot of tomato products because I also can it, but we buy it. So we eat a lot of tomato-based foods. Okay, and I think that is the end of the food. And then this is where I store our everyday herbs that we just use every day. And then in the house I have like a little apothecary cabinet that's about 2 feet deep and as wide as this, and it's stuffed full of herbs and stuff. Purchased, dehydrated, and freeze-dried from our home supplies in my herb garden. Okay, I think that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. You guys, thank you again so much for watching. I'm going to turn my girl to start now so that she can do another load for us. And that's my freeze dryer.